Welcome to the Voortrekker Monument. My name is Racquel and I will be your guide today. The Voortrekker Monument was opened in 1949 and I just want to give you a little bit of safety guidelines. We have 130 stairs that we need to climb. We have railings on the side to assist you should you have any problems. On the left hand side is the women's loo or restroom, if you like to call that. On the right hand side is the gentleman's toilets. Please refrain from eating, drinking, or writing on the walls, and also touching the exhibits. Should you feel you cannot continue with our tour, please let me know, and we can either meet you at the restaurant, which is on my left hand side. There's a coffee shop there, so you can actually just have relax while we're busy with the continuation of our tour. Thank you, and we can continue to the top. I hope everybody is fine since we walked up all these stairs. We are going to enter now the Assegai Gates, and the Assegai Gates were a symbol of power of King Dingon. So these were the weapons that were used in their battles. Can we go continue? On either side of the monument is surrounded by logger wheels, and there's exactly 64 which surround the monument. These were the exact replica of the wagons that were used in a battle. So they formed them in a logger, which is sort of like a circle, and they were used to protect them against their enemies. Please be careful of slippery and uneven steps. Right here. We have a statue of woman and mother and child, as it's called. It's a group statue. And as we see, the mother's protecting her kids. And this is what had to happen while there was a lot of battles those many years ago in the 1880s. So this statue is actually just showing us how she protected her kids. We have the 4 wildebeest on the top. And the wildebeest is actually Dingon called them his black soldiers. So these wildebeest are actually they actually symbols of danger. So that is the reason why they are above the women and child, because it shows that they are dangerous animals, and she was protecting her kids against the danger that happened in those years. Can we continue up the stairs? Please be careful of the stairs. It's very wet and slippery. Before we enter the monument, we have 4 corners of the Voortrekkers. The statues that are on either side is leaders of the Voortrekkers, and there's one unknown. We have the zigzag pattern, and the zigzag pattern is a symbol of fertility. We have the wildebeest. We have the buffalo, and he is a defender. He's one of the wildest animals in South Africa. And he's also part of the Big Five, just a little bit of information. Can we continue? Voortrekker Monument now. The Heroes Hall has an opening, a dome opening on the top. The Heroes Hall has a dome opening on the top, and we'll discuss that in later times. So we're going to now start with the inside of our monument. We'll start with the map. The map, you see all the different Penny Thief, Hansa van Rensburg, Hendrik Pitter, all the different leaders. That, and the map actually indicates the approximate time when the different Czech parties have left. Alright, we'll start with panel 1. This is the Voortrekkers leaving the Cape Colony. As we can see, they're all getting dressed and ready. The woman in the bottom here is packing all their possessions. We have all the livestock available. We have all the livestock. Man is carrying a big bag and putting it in the thing, so they are all getting ready for their trip. Presentation of the Bible. This is where Jacobus Ace was presented the Bible because of his good services to the community. And the person who presented the Bible to him was Philip Thomas, and this was presented on before his departure in 1837. So this is the presentation of the Bible. In this panel is Richard in Zoutpansberg. And this is his dream was to settle in Zoutpansberg, but unfortunately due to malaria, after a year and a half, him and his Trek party decided to leave. They were heading to Lorenzo Marx. And their journey was not that easy. It was virtually impossible with the wagons that they had to use to travel down these mountains. But they eventually made it to Lorenzo Marx after 8 months. And the reason for their trek to Lorenzo Marx was because they wanted to make contact with the Portuguese authorities in Mozambique. And so that's the reason why they actually wanted to leave, and also due to the malaria that was in the vicinity of Zoutpansberg. This panel shows us how there was a fight between the Motibeles and the Voortrekkers. Hendrik Pitter and his Trek party, there was an attack against them. And as we can see in this panel, how the Motibeles, as we can see, the Motibeles are trying to get over the wagons, but the Voortrekkers are stopping them. I mean, we even get the women and children depicted in this panel, that the women and children are assisting with loading the firearms as well as the casting bullets. So they were assisting to help with this fight. And the Motibeles were defeated in this battle. In this panel, it's depicted the negotiation between the Barolong chief Morocco. And the Voortrekkers and the Barolong party got along very well because they assisted the Voortrekkers in actually moving their wagons from the battlefields and brought them into Tabanshu. So they actually got along very well, and for all their help, the Voortrekkers gave them gifts as a thanksgiving. So this is the battle against the Motibeles. As we can see in this panel, we have oxen horses. And this fight was just the first fight that there was ever horse and oxen in a fight. And it wasn't a good idea that the Motiveras actually used the oxen because they were afraid of gunfire. So basically they were defeated in this fight. And we actually see them with their shields and the oxen. We can actually see how the oxen are actually being overturned and frightened. And so the battle didn't really go on that well like it's supposed to have. In this panel, we see Deborah. Deborah's Peter Tief's daughter. And she, on his birthday, painted his name and his date on a face rock in Kerkenberg. Crossing the Drakensberg. Here we see the Voortrekkers actually crossing the Drakensberg. They were leaving for Natal. And because it was so difficult to cross the Drakensberg, they removed the back wheels and added tree branches to make the journey and tied them at the back of the axle to make it easier for their trek, easier and safer, so that they were able to get down that mountain. In this panel we see the signing of the treaty. This is between Dingaan and this is between Dingaan and Piet Retief. They were coming to a negotiation where Dingaan would actually give Piet Retief land in exchange for cattle. So they got together. We see the Voortrekkers on the right-hand side, and Dingaan's warriors on the left. Now his councillors had to kneel, and the reason for them kneeling was because they could not be higher than the king. It was superstitious. He's sitting on a 5-legged chair, which was carved out of tree wood. On the side we see a young youth, a Zulu youth, and he's got his hands cupped. And the reason for him cupping his hands is if Dingaan spat, he didn't want his spit to touch the ground due to the fact that he thought they would use it for witchcraft. Piet Retief has his satchel. This is the famous satchel that we'll see later on what happened. The satchel is where, after the treaty was signed, Piet Retief stowed it in his leather satchel. So they came to agreement and he kept it as safekeeping in his satchel. In this panel, we can actually see what is happening here. Piet Retief was invited to Dingaan's capital. So he got there. And all in good faith left their weapons outside, not knowing what was going to transpire. So they joined in the festivals, and later on Dingaan sent his warriors and said, let us go and get these guys and take them to the hill. So they took Piet Retief and his men, took him to a hill, and as you can see, they're holding him up while they're clubbering and stoning all his men. So they were not even aware of what was going to happen. And eventually, after they killed his men, they turned on Piet Retief. This is the satchel that I spoke about earlier in the panel. It's laying at his feet. So they were actually murdered without even being aware of what was going to happen. This was after the treaty, signing of the treaty. In this panel, we see the Zulus attacking the unsuspected Voortrekkers at night. They weren't aware of this attack. This is a Volkrans and Wienen, and they weren't aware of it. And almost 500 of these Voortrekkers were murdered. So they came at night and they came to attack them, and they were not even aware of it. So this leads us to the next panel that tells us about this brave Italian woman named Racquel Modiano. After her getting to know about what happened at grilled prawns. She got on a horse at night. And from one logger to another, went to go warn the rest of the Voortrekkers to be aware that they are actually approaching their loggers. This panel is where Dirk Ace and his dad were led into ambush, but they weren't aware of the ambush. So upon Dirk knowing that his father and him were in attack, he went to assist. As we can see, he has a rifle with him. But unfortunately, trying to assist his father and helping him out, they both died in this attack. This panel, we see how the men are feeling all downhearted and upset because they've worked, they tried to, they were in a lot of battles, and some of them won, some of them they didn't, and they were feeling discouraged, and they thought to themselves, why not move back to the Cape Connolly? It's probably safer there. But the women are saying, oh no, we are not giving up on this fight. We are going to continue because we've come too far to let everything happen without us carrying on and trying to continue with it. So they were encouraging the men to continue and to fight. In this panel, let me stand on this side, sorry, so that everybody can see. In this panel, this is the arrival of the new leader, Andries Pretorius. And Andries Pretorius was liked by a lot of the Voortrekkers. So they asked him to please, take over the leadership because there was a lot of tension between the different leaders. So he had accepted the role, and he accepted the role of the leader for the Voortrekkers. In this panel, it's these are the Voortrekkers making a vow of a covenant, and they said, God, should we have victory over the Zulus? Because they had a lot of fights. Should we have victory, we would promise to build a church, and so that's what the promise made. And they said, if from that day onwards, they will use it as a day of thanksgiving. So we finally get to the Battle of Blood River. This is one of the most important battles that happened. And this took place on the 16th of December in 1838. But going a day before that, the Zulus were going to attack the Voortrekkers on the 15th of December. But what happened? There was a dense of mist that covered the loggers. So they were debating between themselves, should we attack on the 15th or should we rather leave it for the 16th? They came to the conclusion that the 16th would be a better day due to the fact that the mist, they assumed that the mist was the ancestor of the Voortrekkers protecting them. So the battle took place on the 16th of December, and Andries Pretorius led all his trekkers out onto the field to go and attack. And this was the first attack that they had. They did eventually win the battle, and on the 16th of December. Going to the next panel, and it will tell us why the vow was so important. This was above the opening, it's called the cupola. And if you look down below, the cenotaph was the center focus of the monument. It's where the Voortrekkers, but all the leaders of the Voortrekkers were laid. Now, cenotaph means empty grave. So basically, this is where they had the cenotaph built, just to remember the Voortrekkers and their leaders in the fight that they had. And the words "Ons voor Joseph Africa" was inscribed And so on the 16th of December, at about 12 o'clock, the sun shines onto what's for your South Africa, which is actually the last words in the former South African anthem. And so that's the reason why, and that was actually a day of Thanksgiving. So the sun rises on the 12th of every year on the 16th of December. Okay, we can go back this side. So coming back, once we've done the cenotaph, now we've let you know about all the leaders that had been remembered. That's why they had built the cenotaph. So we're coming back to the church being built. So we had spoken about it in the previous panel. So after the Battle of Blood River, the Voortrekkers started building the church in Thanksgiving because they defeated the Voortrekkers. And they defeated my apologies, they defeated the Zulus. So the church was built in Maritzburg. So they did eventually keep their promise. This panel is where the woman. This panel was actually the only panel. Well, basically, it's a logger run by women. It's called the silo. And in the background, we see men leaving on patrol. In the front, we see the woman tilling soil, and the others are planting wheat and vegetables. And then in the far end, we see how the women have their rifles. So some of the women inside the logger were also protecting the logger. So time and time again, they were being attacked by the Zulus, but they kept them at bay because they were protecting the logger. In this panel, we see Mpande, which is one of Dinkaan's half-brothers. And Mpande took over the Zulus because he had a lot of support from Dinkaan's warriors. So as we see him standing on the rock, and the rock is actually known as Mpande's rock. On the right hand side, we see Piet supporting his kingship because they got along very well as well. And in the background, we see the Voortrekkers taking off their hats in greeting and honor because they were, helping. They were there in the celebrations of him becoming the king, a new king. In this panel, we see Dinkaan being killed. Now, after Mpande became king, him and his few wives decided they're going to leave and go to Swaziland. So he took his wives with him and a few of his warriors, and they ended up in Swaziland. But Swazis and Dinkaan were enemies for a long time. So they eventually killed him without hesitation. So this panel actually depicts the death of Dinkaan. Voortrekkers are recrossing the Drakensberg. And the reason for them crossing the Drakensberg is because they were not happy that the British were ruling the colony. So they got their wagons all together and they decided to go back down to Natal because they wanted to have their own land. They didn't want to be ruled by the British. They were not happy about that, so they decided to go back over the Drakensberg. It was very difficult, it wasn't an easy trip, but they eventually got there. This panel is the signing of the convention, the Sand River Convention. And the reason for the signing is that the British eventually, the Voortrekkers eventually got their land. All right, so there was two official governors that were signing. Peter was also standing on the side because he's witnessing. Andries Pretorius was also standing on the side. He was witnessing the signing of the convention. And the Voortrekkers were very, very happy because they now were getting their own land where they could be free of outside interference. So this is the end of our tour. I hope you enjoyed it. Thank you for joining me, and I hope it was very informative. We actually, once we've done with this, we can actually go downstairs, which is to the cenotaph where I showed you. There's some nice tapestry that depicts the different travels and the battles that happened, done with tapestry. And at the bottom we have the exhibit, which is in the museum, one level down. We can use the lift or we can use the stairs. And on the top we actually also have a good scenery of Pretoria. So if you'd like to have a view of Pretoria, we're welcome to go and have a look. Thank you very much for your time.